Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. Apex Legends players have been understandably disappointed with the lack of significant content updates since the game's release in February. While its competitors have gotten entire new maps, multiple guns, new vehicles, mechanics, and more, Apex has been in the unfortunate new kid on the block position of being late to a scene dominated by games with years of post-launch support. Thankfully, it looks like players can expect some new content soon. Respawn published a blog post outlining some exciting updates to the game. At EA Play in June, they'll be revealing the Season 2 content update. It will include a new battle pass, adds a new legend to the game, and introduces a new weapon. Changes to the map are also in the works. Respawn are committed to the more significant seasonal updates over the more rapid weekly content like PUBG and Fortnite offer to avoid burning out their employees. They're even going so far as to delay development of future Titanfall games to make new content for Apex. To make up for the slower pace, Respawn are working on a revamped progression system that will be more engaging and rewarding for players. They're also working to communicate more effectively about the game's development and future content. Efforts to remove cheaters from the game, fix server issues, and stamp out bugs have been Respawn's top priority since launch. Fixes for the game's slow-mo servers, audio glitches, and hit reg issues are in the works currently. The constant stream of content Fortnite offers apparently comes at a massive cost to the developers working on it, according to a report by Polygon. Some employees admitted to 100-hour work weeks is the norm for many of their peers. Fortnite gets a patch basically every Thursday. While the long hours aren't mandatory, working long hours is the only way to meet deadlines. Crunch is an unfortunately common practice at many game studios, but is generally limited to the few months or weeks before a game's launch. Crunch time working conditions being a constant element of Fortnite's development is pretty grim. Epic responded to Polygon's claims by saying the 100-hour work weeks are incredibly rare and that they're aggressively growing the team to cut down on the numbers of hours individual employees have to work to meet deadlines. However, some employees have said their complaints are either being ignored or held against them. Similar working conditions have been reported at both BioWare and Rockstar during development of Anthem and Red Dead 2. Nearly the entire post-launch roadmap for Anthem has been delayed indefinitely. The upcoming mastery system, guilds, leaderboards, free play events, legendary missions, and May's Cataclysm update are all on ice while BioWare works on addressing the game's laundry list of issues. They will discuss the future of the game's post-launch content in May. This is a massive blow to both players and the game's momentum. Anthem's endgame content was intended to arrive in post-launch updates that carried the game for years, similar to Destiny. At the moment, there's very little for players to do once they complete the game's campaign. With that endgame content now delayed beyond May, it leaves players with little to look forward to in the coming weeks. Fixes for the game's loot system and progression mechanics are currently in the works, but there's been no update regarding them. The good news is PC players are getting a test server for Anthem. It will be used to get feedback on changes to the game. Hopefully, it'll also serve as an outlet for info about the future content updates. Testing might be extended to console players depending on its interest. Battlefield 5's latest Tides of War chapter has started. It offers the LS-26 LMG. I did a full review on the new weapon, so be sure to check it out. It's pretty easy to unlock as well, so if you're interested in what it has to offer, it shouldn't take too long to get it in your hands. Squad Conquest is also back due to popular demand as a potentially permanent addition to the game. An update for Battlefield 5 is due next week. It'll include an updated fall damage system. Currently, if you fall from over a certain height, your character will roll. This takes away control and leaves you very vulnerable for a few seconds. It's been a big frustration for many players, especially in Firestorm. The new system will make the roll optional. If you fall from high enough to take fall damage, you can either land on your feet and take additional damage or hit crouch to roll and mitigate some of the fall damage. Obviously, landing upright lets you engage enemies faster, but the new roll animation and firing delay look like a big improvement. A yellow visual effect for healing is also being implemented. It was added and then quickly disabled a few updates ago, but returns with a more refined look. Firestorm is also getting some attention in the next update. Battlefield 5's visibility issues are expected to get a bit better soon. DICE are also putting together a community broadcast that outlines these changes. It should improve things for most players and is scheduled to launch sometime during the current Tides of War, which ends in early May. PUBG's 28th update is now live. It makes further changes to Erengel's loot balance, adds a weapon mastery progression system, tweaks the UI, and makes the usual laundry list of bug fixes. In the game's last update, Erengel's loot was increased throughout the map. The new update further increases loot spawns by around 28%. Players that prefer non-stop action will probably enjoy the increase. Free-to-play MMO shooter PlanetSide 2 has gotten its biggest update since 2016. It adds a new faction to the game, Nanite System Operatives, who are a bunch of robotic mercenaries. On the technical side of things, it adds support for DirectX 11, which has been in the works for a long time. This should dramatically improve performance for PC players. Content-wise, a new vehicle-based event has been added. There are also overhauls to the squad spawn system, UI, and more. The new mode called Workshop lets players tinker with multiple modes to create new and unique custom game modes. So far, players have made everything from the floor is lava modes to the more zany stuff like escort modes with magnetic payloads that draw players towards the objective involuntarily. It's currently pretty basic and lacks matchmaking, but will hopefully be expanded after release. Rainbow Six Siege might be getting some radically new game modes. The devs recently published a survey to collect player feedback. In the survey, they asked if players would be interested in new modes like TDM, open world exploration, a solo campaign, a new PvE mode like Outbreak, and Capture the Flag. Everything is hypothetical for now, but with Siege having been out for so long, it does seem like a good time to add some content beyond the game's current scope. On the game's test server, players can now participate in a bug hunting program that rewards people for uncovering new issues. Nintendo's CEO dismissed rumors that the company would be announcing new Switch hardware at E3, namely the reported Switch LITE that's been making the rounds for the past few weeks. The Switch has proven wildly popular, storming past 34 million units sold since launch. The N64, for comparison, sold around 33 million units in its lifetime. Sony also dismissed claims that the PlayStation 5 would launch before 2020. Wired magazine posted an interview with the chief architect of the console last week detailing some of its hardware and software features. That interview sparked speculation that the console would be announced and soon released next year, but Sony says not to expect it for at least 12 months. The standalone expansion for the nautical indie hit Subnautica Below Zero got a new vehicle, creature, biome, and quality of life improvements in its latest update. Players can now get around land faster using the Snow Fox bike hovercraft. A new land creature called Snow Stalkers will keep players on their toes when exploring, and the Glacial Basin area will now offer a new biome to explore. Skyrim's fan-funded multiplayer mod may never see the light of day. A member of the mod's community management team recently lashed out at criticism of the mod's development pace. They went so far as to say the team doesn't owe the community anything and that they've been considering canceling development because of how toxic the community for it has become. The mod's Patreon currently makes more than $18,000 a month. Recently, its devs were accused of stealing code from another mod. The indie smash hit Risk of Rain 2 got a roadmap update detailing the game's future content until spring 2020. Coming in June, players can expect a new survivor, stage, boss, and items. From there, highlights include a revamped skill system, new hidden realms, artifacts, and a final boss fight. Risk of Rain 2 is currently in early access on Steam. In our final story this week, CSGO's map pool got shuffled around again. Abbey and Biome have been removed from the official matchmaking. In their place, Workout and Ruby have been added. Vertigo also got several tweaks to further improve its overhauled layout. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what story you found the most entertaining in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.